Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take source material, could be articles, books, research, and really dig into it. We pull out the most important insights, the key takeaways, really just for you. The idea is to give you a shortcut to understanding complex topics, maybe find some surprising things, and, keep it interesting. Today, our deep dive is focused on one specific source. It's a book called Artificial Intelligence for Everyone. The authors are Justin Yang and Branden Yang. And what's really neat about this book, I think, is who it's written for. It's specifically designed for someone who might not have any computer background, like zero computer knowledge needed.
That's exactly right. It's meant to be really accessible.
Mm-hmm.
So our mission today in this deep dive is basically to unpack the main ideas from this book. We want to help you understand, what AI actually is, a little bit about how it works, where you're probably already encountering it every day, maybe without realizing it, and importantly, why getting a handle on this stuff matters. All in a way that's hopefully pretty easy to grasp. We'll take it step by step.
Okay, sounds good. Let's jump in. The most fundamental question, the one the book starts with, is simply, what is artificial intelligence? What is AI?
Yeah, and the book offers a really straightforward way to think about it. It describes AI as technology that lets machines act in ways that seem human.
Like giving a machine, I think you mentioned a robot brain.
Exactly like that, a sort of robot brain that can do things we usually associate with humans.
Yeah.
Things like learning from experience, thinking, and making decisions. The book actually has a quote nugget for this. AI can do things like learn, think, and make decisions. That's the core idea.
Okay, learn, think, make decisions. That sounds significant. How is that different from just a regular computer program? Like, my spreadsheet program follows instructions, but I wouldn't say it thinks.
That's a really great question, and it hits the key difference. A standard computer program, like your spreadsheet, just follows a strict set of instructions a programmer wrote. Step A, step B, step C. Every time.
It just executes the code.
Exactly. It doesn't deviate. It doesn't learn. AI, though, is different. It's designed to learn from data. It can actually get better at tasks over time without a human having to go in and rewrite the instructions constantly. It adapts.
Ah, okay. So is that where those everyday examples come in? Like, the book mentions face recognition on phones. Is the AI learning my face?
Precisely. It learns the patterns of your face from data you provided, usually during setup. Or think about talking to Siri or Alexa. That's AI, understanding the patterns in your voice, figuring out the words, and then figuring out what you mean.
Right. Or when Netflix suggests a movie, it's learned what I like.
It's learned patterns based on what you've watched, what you've rated, maybe even what time of day you watch. It's pattern matching on a huge scale.
The book even mentions self-driving cars as a future possibility. That still feels pretty sci-fi.
It does, yeah. And it can seem almost magical sometimes, but the book is really clear on this. AI isn't magic. It's grounded in, well, math, a whole lot of data, and these special rules or instructions called algorithms.
Algorithms. Okay, what are those, simply?
Think of an algorithm as just a recipe, a step-by-step guide that tells the computer exactly how to do something. For AI, these algorithms are the methods it uses to learn from the data and then make its decisions or predictions.
Right. And the book has that analogy. AI is like a student.
Yeah, a student who gets better by practicing. The more examples, the more data it sees, the smarter it gets at its specific task. But, crucially, like a student, it often needs guidance. It needs the right textbooks, the data, and sometimes needs supervision in how it learns.
Okay, that learning part seems key. And the main way AI systems learn, the book says, is through something called machine learning.
Machine learning is really the heart of most modern AI. It's essentially the process of teaching computers to find patterns, solve problems, make predictions,
Right.
all by learning from data using those algorithms we mentioned, not by programming every single rule explicitly.
So how does that learning process actually work? The book breaks it down. First step, data collection.
Right. You need the raw material. So if you're building an AI to catch spam emails, you need, well, a ton of emails, thousands, maybe millions, and you need to know which ones are spam and which aren't.
Okay, gather the stuff. Then data preparation.
Yeah, because real-world data is messy. It's often got mistakes or missing bits, or it's just not in the right format. So preparation is about cleaning it up, organizing it, making it usable for the AI.
Makes sense. Clean data for clean learning. Next is training.
This is where the learning happens. The AI takes that prepared data and uses its algorithm to sift through it looking for patterns. For the spam filter, it's figuring out, what words or senders or link types tend to show up in spam emails versus legitimate ones. It practices on this data.
Like the student doing practice problems. Got it. Then testing.
Super important. You need to check if it actually learned the general patterns or if it just memorized the practice problems. So you give it new emails it's never seen before. Does it correctly flag the spam without getting confused by the normal emails?
And assuming it passes the test.
Then you move to deployment. That's putting the AI to work in the real world. So your spam filter starts actually filtering your live inbox.
Okay, so collect, prepare, train, test, deploy. That's the machine learning flow. The book also mentions there are different ways AI learns, supervised and unsupervised.
Yes, those are two main categories the book explains really well. Let's start with supervised learning.
And the analogy there is teaching a kid with labels.
Exactly. Like showing a child a picture of an apple and saying apple, then a banana, banana, then another apple, apple. In supervised learning, humans provide the data with the right answers already attached. These are the labels.
So for an AI learning to identify cats in photos, you'd feed it thousands of photos, each one labeled cat or not cat.
Precisely. The AI then looks at all the cat photos and learns the common features, pointy ears, whiskers, fur patterns, whatever its algorithm finds useful that correspond to the cat label.
Okay, and you use this when you know what you want the AI to do, like classify emails as spam or not spam, or pictures as cat or not cat.
You got it. The book gives examples like AI and medicine looking at x-rays. It's trained on thousands of x-rays labeled by doctors as having a tumor or not having one. It learns to spot the signs. Or language translation. Trained on huge amounts of text already translated by humans. It learns the patterns between languages from those labeled examples.
Right. The supervision is providing the correct answers during training, so what about unsupervised learning?
Well, this is different. The book's analogy is helpful here, too. Imagine giving a child a big box of Lego bricks of different shapes and colors, but giving no instructions. The child might start sorting them. Maybe they put all the red ones together, or all the square ones. They find their own way to organize the bricks based on inherent similarities.
So with unsupervised learning, you give the AI data, but no labels, no right answers provided.
Exactly, no labels. The goal is for the AI itself to explore the data and discover interesting structures or patterns or groups within it that maybe we didn't even know were there.
Ah, so you'd use this when you're not quite sure what you're looking for. You want the AI to find hidden groupings?
That's a great way to put it. You're hoping it reveals some underlying structure. The book mentions customer segmentation as an example. A business might feed customer purchase data into an unsupervised AI to see if it naturally clusters customers into groups with similar buying habits without telling it what groups to look for beforehand.
Or maybe finding weird, unusual transactions that don't fit any normal pattern, which could signal fraud.
Yes, that's another classic use case mentioned, fraud detection. Or recommendation systems grouping users with similar tastes or items that are often bought together. Unsupervised learning helps find those connections.
The book does point out a challenge, though, right? That sometimes the patterns the AI finds are hard for us to understand.
That can definitely happen. Because we didn't tell it what to look for, the groups or patterns it finds might be based on complex statistical correlations that don't have an obvious, simple explanation in human terms. Why did it group these specific customers? Sometimes it's not immediately clear.
Okay, interesting. But whether it's supervised or unsupervised, it seems like the common ingredient is always data. The book calls data the fuel for AI. I like that analogy.
It's perfect, isn't it? Data is absolutely essential. An AI system, no matter how sophisticated its algorithm, is useless without data to learn from. It's the gasoline for the engine. AI learns by practicing, by processing data, finding those patterns. The more relevant, high-quality data it gets, generally, the better it performs.
And this leads to that really crucial phrase the book highlights, garbage in, garbage out.
Yes.
Yes.
This cannot be stressed enough. The AI is only as good as the data it learns from. If you train it on data that's wrong or incomplete or biased, well, the AI will learn those flaws. Its outputs, its decisions will reflect that garbage input.
The book gives a powerful example related to fairness, talking about AI used for scholarships. If the historical data used for training shows past biases, maybe fewer scholarships went to a certain group unfairly, the AI will learn that pattern.
And it will replicate it. It might unfairly disadvantage future applicants from that same group simply because it learned the bias patterns present in the input data. It doesn't know it's unfair. It just knows the pattern.
So garbage in, garbage out applies to accuracy and fairness.
Absolutely. It's fundamentally about pattern recognition. AI is incredibly powerful at finding subtle patterns in huge data sets, images, text, numbers, sounds, video. But it doesn't understand the data like a human. Facial recognition sees pixel patterns, not a person's identity in a human sense. Weather prediction sees correlations in historical data, not the physics of the atmosphere directly.
And the book emphasizes both the quality and the quantity of data matter.
Tremendously. You need enough data, and it needs to be accurate and representative. Otherwise, the AI might not work well, or it might work well only for certain groups, leading to bias.
Okay, so AI learns patterns from data, and once it's trained, we start seeing it. Well, everywhere. The book points out how integrated it is already.
Oh, absolutely. Your smartphone is packed with it. We mentioned Face ID, predictive text, but also things like how your photo app automatically organizes pictures. Grouping by faces, places, even objects like beach or dog, that's AI classifying your images.
Right, and online shopping.
Yeah.
Those recommendations you might also like.
Yep. Classic AI, analyzing your clicks, your purchases, what other people like you bought, finding patterns to predict what you might buy next. Amazon, Netflix, Spotify, they all do this.
Entertainment seems huge for this. The recommendations on Netflix or YouTube, the personalized playlists on Spotify. TikTok's feed is famously AI-driven.
Totally. They're constantly learning from every single interaction, what you watch, what you skip, how long you listen to refine their patterns and keep serving you content they think you'll engage with. The book even mentions Netflix personalizing the little preview images, the thumbnails, based on what AI thinks you specifically are most likely to click on.
Wow, that's so specific. Okay, what about just getting around maps?
Navigation apps like Google Maps or Waze heavily use AI, predicting traffic jams, estimating your arrival time, suggesting faster routes. That's AI analyzing real-time location data from many users, plus historical traffic patterns.
And things like voice translators, Google Translate.
AI again, learning the incredibly complex patterns of language structure and vocabulary to translate between them. In all these cases, it's AI finding patterns in data, your data, other people's data, world data, to offer something useful, personalized, or efficient, often running quietly in the background.
It really is everywhere when you start looking. But with all this power and data usage, the book rightly brings up safety and privacy concerns.
Yeah, these are really important considerations. AI safety is about making sure these systems work correctly and, crucially, don't cause harm.
The book uses the example of AI helping a doctor. If the AI gives wrong advice about a patient's illness, that could be dangerous.
Extremely dangerous. So ensuring safety involves things like incredibly rigorous testing, testing the AI millions of times in simulations before it ever touches a real patient or a real-world critical system. It also often involves keeping a human in the loop, especially for high-stakes decisions. Maybe the AI suggests something, but a human makes the final call.
Okay, that's safety. What about privacy? AI often needs our personal info to work, right? Location, search history, shopping habits.
It does. And protecting that data is paramount. We need strong guarantees that our personal information is kept secure, used ethically, and not shared without our okay. The risks are real identity theft, misuse of data.
So how is privacy protected, technically?
Well, through things like encryption, scrambling the data so it's unreadable without the key, and strong security like passwords, maybe two-factor authentication, to control who can access the systems holding the data.
But the book acknowledges these aren't perfect solutions, right? Challenges remain.
Definitely. AI can still make mistakes, systems can have bugs, and there's always the threat of hackers trying to steal data in breaches.
And we have to come back to bias again here, don't we? Because it's both a performance issue and a safety fairness issue.
Exactly. The book hammers this home. Because AI learns from data, any biases in that data reflecting historical discrimination or unfairness will likely be learned and amplified by the AI.
That scholarship example again. If the data shows bias, the AI becomes biased. Garbage in, garbage out applies to fairness too.
It's a fundamental challenge. Making AI fair requires very careful data selection, auditing the AI's decisions for bias, and ongoing work to develop techniques that mitigate these issues.
So it sounds like safety, privacy, and fairness aren't things you just solve once. It's continuous effort, responsible choices in how we build and use AI.
Precisely. It's an ongoing process of improvement, regulation, and ethical consideration.
Okay, one last really important point the book makes is about understanding what AI intelligence actually means compared to human intelligence.
Yes, this is crucial for setting expectations. The book clarifies that machine intelligence is very different from ours. AI today doesn't feel anything, no emotions, no consciousness, no self-awareness like humans have.
So when Netflix recommends a show, it's not happy if I like it.
Not in any way we understand happiness. Its intelligence is purely about processing information incredibly fast, finding complex patterns in data, and making predictions or decisions based only on that data, within the narrow task it was designed for.
But it lacks what? Creativity, intuition, morality?
Generally, yes, it lacks genuine creativity, common sense reasoning about the world, empathy, and the ability to make nuanced ethical judgments. It finds correlations in data, it doesn't grasp meaning the way we do, and that's why human oversight and judgment remain so critical. We provide the context, the values, the ethical compass that AI systems lack.
The book also touches on the difference between narrow AI and general AI.
Right. What we have now is all narrow AI that's very good at one specific task, like playing chess or translating text or driving in certain conditions. Artificial General Intelligence, or AGI, is the hypothetical idea of an AI with human-like cognitive abilities across many different tasks. That's still firmly in the realm of science fiction for now. The book and our current reality is focused on narrow AI.
Got it. So super smart tools for specific jobs, not thinking beings.
That's a good summary.
Okay, wow. We've covered a lot of ground from this book, Artificial Intelligence for Everyone. We started with the basics. AI as technology making machines seem human, like a learning robot brain.
We looked at how it learns through machine learning, using algorithms to find patterns in data, either with labels, supervised, or without unsupervised.
We talked about data being the essential fuel and the critical importance of data quality, avoiding that garbage in, garbage out problem, especially regarding bias and fairness.
And we saw how AI is already all around you in your phone, your shopping, your entertainment, navigation, quietly recognizing patterns to help out.
We also touched on the vital issues of safety and privacy, the risks involved, and the need for careful, ongoing work to make AI reliable and trustworthy.
And finally, we clarified that AI's intelligence is about pattern matching and prediction,
Yeah.
not human-like consciousness or understanding.
It really feels like the book paints a picture of AI as a powerful tool built on math and data, definitely not magic.
Absolutely. And it's a tool that's changing things rapidly, not just in consumer tech, but in healthcare, agriculture, transportation. Yeah. Fields the book touches on, too.
So huge potential benefits, but also, as the book shows, real challenges we need to manage responsibly.
Exactly. It's a balance. So maybe the final thought to leave you with, drawing from the spirit of the book, is this. As AI becomes even more woven into our world, understanding its foundation that it's driven by data, learns through patterns, and needs human guidance, that understanding is really powerful. It helps you use the technology wisely and think critically about how it should benefit society.
Yeah, think about those AI interactions you have. Knowing it's a pattern machine learning from data, does that change how you see that recommendation or that translation or even that news feed?
What questions does that raise for you about the data being used or the potential for bias or where we want human judgment to remain essential in the future?
It's definitely a lot to think about. But hopefully, this deep dive, based on artificial intelligence for everyone, gives you a solid starting point for understanding this transformative technology. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.